Hey everybody, it's Jeremy here with the Gillette Group, and today we're going to do something totally different. We joined a boat club shortly after moving here 10 years ago. We've been in it pretty much ever since then. We had one short break because the kids were just so busy on the weekends. After being out on a couple other boats, we just missed it too much. So we're back in it, joined again about a year and a half ago, and we'll probably always be members. So today we're going to walk through what it's like to join the boat club, why we joined it, and we'll probably answer some of the questions that you have. So take a look. All right, so what's a boat club? Well, boat club is exactly what it sounds like. It is a business in a sense that has a membership program where you have access to all kinds of boats. And in our particular situation, we joined Freedom Boat Club. And what we liked about Freedom Boat Club is they have a lot of locations. So in our particular area, our home location is considered to be anywhere from Bradenton, just south of Tampa, through Marco Island. And within that area, I think we're up to 18 home club locations. Within each of the home locations, you've got access to all kinds of boats. So one thing that's nice about the boat club is you don't own a boat, but you have access to a lot of boats. So as an example, if my mom comes out with us, if she even smells a wave, she gets seasick. We get a pontoon and we stay in the bay. If the kids are with us and they want to maybe get a tube, we'll get something like this, like a deck boat, and we'll go out and we'll be able to tube. There's a lot more room in here as well for just lounging and sitting. You also have inshore fishing boats, offshore fishing boats if you want to get your offshore certification. There's bow riders, there's deck boats. So the nice thing about the boat club, you have multiple locations and multiple boats. Another nice thing about the boat club is, and this is a question we get asked all the time, how does it work? You know, we joined partly because of convenience. So at the time we first joined, I was traveling every single week, and I didn't want to have to deal with storing a boat, washing a boat. This is all saltwater here. There's a lot more maintenance on a boat in saltwater environment than many, lakes, if you're familiar, more up north and especially Midwest. But I also didn't want a trailer. I didn't want to have to store. Everything about it seemed like it was going to be more effort than the enjoyment that I would get from it. And the nice thing about the boat club for us, you pull up, you load the boat. Yes, you can't store things on the boat, but it is kind of nice. You load up, you get on the boat, and when you pull back in, there's a flow meter that actually tracks how much gas you've used, and then you basically gets charged to your credit card. You tip the attendants that are helping you at the dock. They'll help bring you in. That's always some anxiety for a lot of boaters, is just getting back to the dock. And in fact, one of my favorite t-shirts ever is the one that says, "I'm sorry for what I said while docking." Okay, so let's talk about location. So that was a big part of the reason we joined Freedom Boat Club. There are many options. There's Sweetwater, there's just a lot. We joined Freedom because it had national, and now it's, I think, international access. So you've got locations all across the country and internationally. I talked about our locations here and the home location. So one of the questions we get asked is, how often can you use it? So as it relates to your home locations, you can have an unlimited usage. You can use a boat every single day. What is somewhat limited is the number of reservations that you can have at any given time. So you are allowed 4 reservations in the membership that we have. And you can book them as far out as you want, but if you have 4 on the books, you can't book any others, with the exception of you can call the day of. And if there are boats available, those docks will get you on the boat that day. Weekend reservations work a little bit different with Freedom Boat Club. Weekends are actually half-day reservations. So if you want to book a full day, you're going to end up booking 2 half-day reservations. And I'll show you how that works. I did an actual screenshot of the reservation process that I will put in the video here. Okay, so here's where I get to show you how to book a reservation. I'm going to click New. And I'm actually set up inside my account here so you guys can kind of follow along. There's a couple reservations that I have. You can see I'm selected as the captain. I'm going to pick a particular day. I'm going to just go about a week, almost a week and a half in this case, and I'm going to select the location. Here you can see Anna Maria Island, Bird Key Yacht, Bonita, Bradenton, Cape Coral, 2 Inglewood locations, 4 Fort Myers locations. You'll see as we keep scrolling, there's 2 Marco Island, 2 Naples, Pine Island, 2 Punta Gorda, 2 Sarasota,
and to Venice. And those are all part of our home location that I was referencing. So within these boat clubs, we actually get unlimited use of these boats, again, within the 4 reservations. So I selected Fort Myers Salty Sam's. If you're coming from the Fort Myers area about to go over the bridge, it sits just off to the right, kind of over there a little bit past like Dock Fords and some of those large marina storage, if you can picture those. So here I'm going to just click on a couple different boats so you can get an idea. This is a pontoon. It's a 2022 22 foot with 115 horsepower on it. I'm going to just pick a couple of these so you get a sense. This is an offshore center console. It's a newer type of boat in the fleet, has 150 horsepower. In here you can see it tells you the capacity, how many people, etc. That's a true offshore center console with a 250 horsepower on it. Here is a very small boat, 17 foot. These are really just designed to be in the bay. But you can see, so, and the color coding, just so you know, anything that's green is available. If you're looking at a weekend, there's 2 reservations to use a full day. You'll see a lighter green, that means it's half booked, and the red would mean it's already booked. So the closer you get to these boats or to the date that you want to use it, the more you'll see the boat's availability shrink.
Now, the other thing that we like about the locations, we have seen more of the coastline in Florida because there's so many locations. So we live in Estero. We oftentimes go out of Fishtail Marina, which is the location that we chose to go out of today. That's right in the center island as you're going from Bonita Beach up to Fort Myers Beach. But there's 3 locations on Bonita Beach alone, including what I would consider this, even though it's Fort Myers. There's a couple in Fort Myers, a couple in Cape Coral. As you go down, there's a handful more in Naples. You've got 2 in Marco. And it is neat. You get to see different parts of our coastline. So one of the things that people love to see are the dome houses. Technically, it's one house, but it's a series of domes. And in this battle of man against nature, nature clearly won. But that's a location that you want to go out of Marco Island, and it makes it really, really a quick breeze. You go out the channel, you swing around, and you sit between Cape Romano, and then you make your way up towards Marco Island. You get to look at that. The marine life in that area and the 10,000 islands is spectacular. The water is super clear. There's not as many rivers that run off from all the agriculture. So it's a neat area to boat. There's all kinds of options if you want to be in the bay. And if you want to go offshore, there's lots of access. Salty Sam's is a great one, where if you want to be able to run offshore, go up and around Sanibel, Captiva. Pine Island is a great location, especially if you want to see like Usepa Island or Cabbage Key. Again, we've seen so much. We've gone out of Inglewood and Cape Hayes. We've gone out of Bradenton when we met family that came down from the villages. So again, between the locations and the types of boats, you have a lot of flexibility. The other part of the reservations we'll talk about are the reciprocals. So you have your home location, and again, this is all specific to Freedom Boat Club. And other boat clubs may work similarly if they have locations outside of the home area. But we are allowed to use every other location up to 4 times a year. Now, that doesn't mean a combination of the other locations. Truly, we can use every other location up to 4 times a year. The reservation process is a little bit different. It's done through email as opposed to the app or just going on the computer and making a reservation. But again, if we go to Cape Cod and want to get a boat, we have that ability. If we go to the Great Lakes somewhere, go to Chicago and want to get a boat, we can do that. If we're in Lake Havasu or Lake Austin or wherever, chances are there's going to be a boat that we can have access to that we can incorporate into our travels. Okay, so let's talk about training. Interestingly, in the state of Florida, there's no requirement if you're over a certain age to know or have a license or some sort of training that requires you or provides you the ability to operate a boat. Now, Freedom has their own requirements. They're going to teach you basic boater safety, how to navigate channels, how to read a chart. They're going to want to make sure that you're comfortable, and honestly, you're going to want to make sure that you're comfortable. We are shallow water here. I mean, when you're in the bay, if you're not inside a marked channel, chances are you're going to be in 1 to 2 feet of water. And oftentimes less than that. So you'll see boaters all the time, especially on holidays when people are in visiting, that are stuck in the channels and they're pushing their boats out. Now, one nice thing is we are predominantly almost all sand here. So in the Gulf of Mexico, you're going to be hard-pressed to find a rock, unlike much of the rocky coast in the Northeast where I grew up and other parts of the country. There is additional training available to you at any time. Each of the locations has a Coast Guard licensed captain. So that captain is available to you. You can set up time for any training that you want to do, practice docking, anything. Now, if you want to go offshore, that is an additional certification and requirement to take the offshore center consoles. It requires another day with the captain, and I say day, it's about an hour and a half to go out. Again, they want to show that you can safely operate the boat. They're going to do a man overboard drill, and that's about it. I mean, there's going to be some additional training for that certification, but if they can see that you're pretty seaworthy, that you understand how to operate, you can demonstrate that to them, you'll earn that designation, and then it gives you the ability to take some different boats up to 25 miles offshore. So now I want to just move into a section where we just answer questions that we get somewhat frequently, and hopefully this will help answer any questions that you might have. So one of the questions that comes up is, what kind of membership is available? And there's a few, and I'm assuming that this changes with probably the different boat clubs. With Freedom, we're in a full year-round membership. There are membership options for people. Maybe you're retired, you have a little more flexibility. You can do a weekday membership. Saves you a little bit of money, and it opens up some of the weekends for some of the other members. There are corporate memberships where a couple people can be on. There might be family memberships, I don't recall, but that's something that you can look into. But just know there's some options out there that will be a little more flexible if you don't need the full year or a full year-round membership. Now, another question that we get is, how many people can be on the boat? And that's a good question. So the boats here, they range anywhere from 17 feet to about 22 feet. They're not the biggest boats. We're a family of 5, and to be honest, if we have people out, it's usually like another couple. Once we get between 7, 8, 9 people, we're really pushing the size limit on these boats. Obviously, with a pontoon, you can probably get, I think they allow, depending on the type of pontoon, either 10 or potentially 12. So you have a little more capacity on the pontoons, certainly than over the center consoles, the bow riders, etc. So another question we get asked all the time is, how does it work from a financing, dollars, whatever? So the boat club is, at least in the case of Freedom, you have an equity buy-in, which is, I think, common for all the boat clubs. So you have initial downstroke to get into the club. Then you have a monthly fee, which varies, I'm assuming, depending on the club. And this is probably one of the lower priced boat clubs. There are other boat clubs out there that have much nicer boats. You're going to have a much higher monthly fee and likely a much larger equity buy-in as well. And then from the day of use perspective, so the way it works is you roll up to the boat, you get on the boat, you come back, and then there's a flow meter in the case of all the boats here with Freedom Boat Club. It basically is measuring how much gas you've used over the course of your day. When you get back to the dock, your credit card's on file. They charge you for the gas, so yes, great. You're not even having to go fill up gas in the boat. Again, it's about convenience for us. But then you just tip the deckhand as well. So that's basically how it works from the finance side. Okay, so let's talk about tips. We've been in the boat club now for probably the better part of a cumulative, we've actually joined twice, but we've been in here probably 5 or 6 years now. A couple things that we've learned that make the experience a little bit better. One is have a second anchor. It allows you, when you pull up to the beach, regardless if you're a Gulf side or bay side, to back into the beach, and then you can use your second anchor. You can anchor off the bow, anchor off the stern. It allows you to just keep the boat in one position, and the back end doesn't drift out if you're anchored off the bow, which is where most of the anchors are with the boats. The other thing it does for you is it keeps, most of the boats here have some sort of swim platform and ladder off the back. A couple of the deck boats do have them up front, but it allows in that situation to get the back of the boat facing the beach where you want to be. Now, another tip we would say, these boats are low frill. They don't have a lot of electronics on them. Basically, the depth finder is about all you're going to have. So you're going to want to bring a Bluetooth speaker. So we have one that we keep charged, and then the days that we run out, we have what we call our boat bag, and it's kind of like, if you remember when you were pregnant, you had your go bag. Well, we have the boat bag, and it works the same way. It's got suntan lotion. It has, we know to throw the speaker in it. It's got some sand toys, books, koozies, whatever that you think you're going to need. That's in our boat bag. Okay, so another tip, we enjoy pulling up to the beach and just floating. The water here is usable year-round. In fact, some times of the year, it's almost too warm to really feel like a cooling effect, but still pretty amazing to just sit there and float. So because you're bringing everything on and off the boat, you just have to think about how much you want to be, lugging with you. So we think about the type of floats that we bring, and then we also have, and this is good to know, either a battery-powered pump or a 9-volt adapter for a small pump. A lot of these come with like an air mattress, or you can find them on Amazon. It's nice to have because you're not, using your lung capacity to fill a float for, 40 minutes for you to get in the water. Another tip, if you're in Freedom, as I shared, there's not a lot of electronics on the boat. There are charts that you're going to have every time you leave from the dock. It's part of the checklist to make sure that the boat's ready to leave the dock. But I use a program called Navionics. I don't think it's a lot from memory. I think I pay about $50 a year, and that gives me, I think, all of North America maps, or charts. And it really is helpful, especially as you're navigating channels. One of the fun things here is going out and exploring by boat. You're going to want to make your way to Cabbage Key, which is only accessible by boat. You might want to go to North Captiva and check out Mangoes. Again, only accessible by boat. If you want to get to Cayo Costa, which is a state park, only accessible by boat. So you can either take the ferry, or if you have an opportunity, you can hop in one of the Freedom Boat Clubs, go out of the location that makes the most sense. Similarly, if you want to go to Cape Romano and the Dome Houses, you're going to get there by boat. So you're going to want to have the charts. You're going to want to know where you are. You're going to want to know what your depths are. And you just have to have some sense of where you're going because, again, it is shallow here. So you can be a mile offshore and be in 20 feet of water, if that gives you a sense of how shallow the shelf is in the Gulf of Mexico. So we never even talked about the boat club as a whole and our experience. We are fans. We really enjoy being in the boat club. On a 1 to 10, it's probably an 8 for us. There's a couple cons, like the boats might be a little smaller than we would choose, or working through the reservations takes a little bit of planning at times. But on the whole, we are big fans of the boat club. We love that it gets us on the water. We get to see things that we don't always get to see. And you don't just own a boat, you own a whole fleet of boats in theory. So you get to see a lot, do a lot, and enjoy. All right, so that's it for the boat video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully it answered a lot of questions that you have. If you have other questions, even if it's not boat related, drop them in the comments. Let us know what you guys want to know about. We're happy to put that kind of content out there. But maybe a boat club isn't in your future. Maybe you already own a boat. Maybe you're going to buy a boat when you get down here. There are all kinds of communities that are very boat friendly. If you want a dock or a lift in your backyard, we'll check out Cape Coral. If you want to live in a community, maybe like this one in Bonita Bay, they have a marina inside the community. Check it out.